Hi, welcome. This is the first episode of Yogis that Inspire, and I have my first guest who's also my dear friend. She's a strong, intelligent woman. Her name is Olivia Mercado, and Olivia I met her in my yoga journey when I first started to learn, and she's inspired me through her conversations, through her posts on Instagram, and just the person she is. She's very inspiring. She's also studied a lot. She's a certified yoga teacher, 700 plus hours of yoga teaching. Olivia has studied Tantra. And hi, Olivia, she's here. Welcome. Please send a request and I will add you. Hey, Daniel, nice to have you on here watching. Wonderful. Let me just. Hi, Hitayoshi. Olivia, can you. Hi, Olivia.
Hello, beautiful. Good morning.
Good afternoon from London.
Woo! Yes, 11:20. Olivia. Ready to
Yes, so for those who don't know, Olivia is one of my dearest friends, but also an inspiration in my life. She is an absolute ray of sunshine and a strong, intelligent, kind soul. Has put in so much dedication to pursuing this study of thyself. I think through yoga, tantra, NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, also a Reiki, which is amazing, and so much wealth of information also with the marketing background. So she's been in you know, the Western world with the marketing, but also dabbled into the Eastern. So I am so excited to get started and ask you questions. Are you ready?
was born ready, baby. I
Yeah.
received first of all
Okay.
because I really enjoy connecting with you, with anyone else who wishes to join us today to just talk about life and love and who we are and what the fuck and emotions and yoga and all of it. So, what a beautiful space. Thank you for creating this space, for inviting me. I love you dearly and I receive all the beautiful things you say about me. I truly rejoice. Thank you. Ask me
Oh,
what I want to ask. Great.
amazing. So, because we connected through yoga, and that was one avenue, what that I feel connected to you. What does yoga mean to you, Olivia?
Ah, yoga, such a fucking gift. I swear a lot, guys, so I hope you can contain that. What a fucking life. I came to yoga because I had pain, and yoga to me has been healing. Yoga has been a return to love, a return to self. Yoga has been self-respect and connection, knowing earth. That's what yoga has brought to me, is truly reminding me of just the magnificent being that I am. And because, we are one, that everyone else is as well. So it's brought a lot of healing and awareness to my life. That's yoga for me.
Amazing. And I know there's so many styles of yoga. As you know, I just call it different branding, and it's so hard to know which one resonates with different people. So which one resonates to you? Which style per se
So,
resonates to you and why?
question, and for anyone who's joining here, Vivek, I see you looking good, Olivia. Well, thank you. Vivek he was one of my coachees. He's in India right now. So happy you're here. Charles, oh my God, thank you for joining. Charles is joining from Miami, from Florida. Um,
Amazing, amazing. You have a worldwide following, I'm telling you.
oh, yeah. For anyone who tried yoga or hasn't yet, and then sometimes I hear people say like, "Oh, I tried it. That's not for me." It really depends, where you go and who your teacher is. It's the same as a massage, It's not the parlor per se, it's the person who has the ability to connect with you. So, for example, when I first, because I trained in Ashtanga, to answer your question, I trained in Ashtanga, which is a very dynamic and very masculine approach to yoga. You know, you sweat a lot and it's like almost aggressive, word that comes to mind. It's a very go-getter kind of style of yoga. And it gives great structure. So I'm really happy that I trained first in Ashtanga because it like burnt. There is this word in yoga called tapas, and you burn through, like you purify, literally you sweat a lot. But then I realized, you know what, hey, I'm a woman and like something is just not feeling right, because some days, for example, because we are cyclical, I was feeling a bit more tired, or like, you know, my hormones, who knows what they were doing, but I wasn't feeling like I want to do repetitions 1,000 of Ashtanga. And this is where vinyasa came to my life. And vinyasa means one breath, one movement. You connect. And actually, Ashtanga is a style of vinyasa. So this is where people go like, wait, what? But stay with me. Vinyasa allows you to break the structure. It's like learning the alphabet, and then in Ashtanga you just repeat A followed by B followed by C, and you cannot deviate from that. But in vinyasa, learn, oh shit, these are letters and I can string them however I want. And so the first time I remember when I tried this pose called Wild Thing, I laughed and cried at the same time because my body opened up in such a way that I was like, what is this magnificent thing? It's like a backbend, you know, and I could feel the oxygen coming in, and it was like, wow. So vinyasa is my preferred style, is what I teach now. It's very intuitive, and it is, to me, it's very expansive because you can mold the practice. You know, if some days I'm feeling a bit more in my feminine and in my receptive mode, then I will practice a slower version of vinyasa, but it still is one breath, one movement. When I'm like ovulating, I mean, I can do handstands for 20 minutes and just be like, woo, you know. So it really are a great gift of vinyasa. Yeah.
I see. So vinyasa, and I think vinyasa means to flow, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
To flow.
It's connecting the breath with the.
Yes. And for someone who is new, right? You've tried all the styles, like as many as you've been, so many. What would you recommend for someone who's new to yoga? Never heard about it. You're like, what, you know, where can I start?
Yeah. So I do recommend, if you have the ability, get yourself a yoga teacher and do it one-on-one first. Oftentimes, I mean, it took me years actually of being in the practice to get like attention, you know, because if you go to a class that is really big and you're an absolute beginner, there's already like this, like, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I doing it right? The mind gets so loud. And if the bigger the class as well, the chances are that the teacher can't really give you undivided attention, right? Because they need to manage all sorts of different levels of students. Now, here's where a good teacher knows how to give modifications for beginners and extensions for people who are like already like, oh, this is so like basic. And so you want to be able to give that range for anyone to have fun in your class, right? Because you want to be challenged. But for an absolute beginner, I would say do 2 to 3 to even 5 classes. Do a small package with a teacher one-on-one, so that you learn how to breathe, you learn the proper alignment, that you don't hurt yourself. Because even though very like, oh, like ballet, you can potentially hurt yourself because you don't know how to properly do and manage the poses. So I would say start with a teacher, you know, and nowadays there's so much. But if you, for example, if you were to start alone at home with something like on YouTube, like chances are also that you're going to be like, am I doing this right? I don't know. So you're going to doubt yourself. And then because you don't know, you try it 2, 3, 4 times. And then you're like, you know what? I tried it. It's not for me. So it really, your starting journey. I mean, I always say I'm passionate for yoga virgins. I'm like, give me a yoga because it needs to be a beautiful initiation is the word. It's not just like, let's do it. It's an initiation. It's a passing of energy, passing of wisdom, you know, and it's such a gift. I get so excited.
Wow, it gives me chills just hearing you speak about it that way, and really valuing the initiation to yoga, right? Like a sacred practice.
It is sacred. It is absolute sacred. If you realize, like, it's been passed on through lineages, you know, of teacher to student and master to student. and it has changed and it has evolved, and it is okay. You know, there's the purists who are like, no, it always has to be like this. I'm like, we need to adapt. We need to adapt. We adapt to technology, you know, we adapt. And as we have less time, let's say, because we have things happening in life, you know, but we make time for the practice. And then the practice gives us time because we are able to change our energy. And when you feel rested, which is what the practice gives to you, being able to purify, but also to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and restore mode that we naturally have. But we have forgotten how to do that because we're always on the go, especially now with technology, our phones. Do you remember the times when someone called you on the landline and if you weren't home talking, they didn't get to talk to you?
Yeah.
20 minutes, 30 minutes. Nowadays, everyone has access to your energy. And if you're
Yes.
not aware of that, you can basically be raped of your energy because you're giving and giving this message, that message. People get annoyed if you don't reply, you know? So we need to be really wise as to how we use our energy.
That is such a great point. And do you think the yoga practice is beneficial to every human being?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Yoga means union. It's learning how to breathe. Basically, it's learning how to govern your energies. If you are a human being, you are an energy being. Therefore, learn. It's like your yoga is like your manual. When you buy, I don't know, a refrigerator, it comes with a manual. When you buy something at IKEA, you know, and you want to like assemble it, it comes with a manual. And you read it and you're like, ah, this screw goes here, that nail goes there. Okay, do not do this. Right.
Yeah.
So how come we, being the elaborate fucking beings that we are, we don't learn? Like yoga is the manual. It tells you, here's breath, here's your body, here's your energies, here's spirit. Read the manual. Like do yoga, read the manual. Learn how to operate this beautiful thing. This beautiful thing. This beautiful thing.
That is so well described, and it makes perfect sense. That's why it's lasted centuries.
Exactly, exactly. And it all it takes is for you to have that proper initiation. Where I was talking yesterday, who is a yoga teacher, and we were talking about her journey as well. And I asked her, and she's like, wow, you know, she walked me through the whole story of her coming into yoga. And all it takes, that we were saying, is like, is this, you've seen that beautiful picture, that image, that drawing, that painting, which is the creation of Adam, and it's God and like this the naked hot dude, you know, with a teeny wiener touching hands like this, a finger. That's the creation of Adam, and this is also symbolic. It's the connection of your brain, your right and left hemisphere, the sympathetic parasympathetic nervous system. So when you have that connection, okay, now you come to life. And that is what yoga gives us, is that ability to come back home, like I said at the start of the call, to come back to the where I am enough. I can rest, I can breathe. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need validation. It's really powerful. Yoga goes way beyond the mat. What we do at a surface level with the body is only triggering and activating emotions within us that then we get to look into, like, oh, how come? And then we get to mute them.
And I know that you said that like yoga brings so much variety into your life. But what is the greatest impact, if you had to narrow down to one thing, what would be the greatest impact yoga has had for you?
Slowing me down in a good way. Like this illusion of control, of like, I need to know and what's going to happen and how's it going to be, and always in the go mode, this hustle mode, you know. It is a pedestal almost. And I worked for various companies, not just to name one, companies where this was very like held in high regard. Like, you need to, if you are resting, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you know, there's so much more to do. You got to read, you got to, so many things outside. And yoga has returned to me. I don't know why my nose is running today, so it's just a runny nose. I don't have COVID, people, relax.
That's okay, you can't catch it through the phone anyway. So.
Exactly. And so it has, but it has taken time. It hasn't been a switch like that. It's taken years of self-inquiry, which is part of the practice, you know,
Mm.
the study of the self, swadhyaya, it's called in Sanskrit. Swadhyaya is the study,
Yes.
observing our triggers, observing our reactions, observing our inclinations, our addictions, our resistance,
Mm.
just studying ourself. So it has given me that a pause in life.
That's beautiful. And I know in the yoga teachings they talk about, the yamas and the niyamas. So I know there's a lot of them, but I won't go through all of them. But which yama and niyama, if you could also just briefly describe what it means and why it has benefited, why you resonated with it the most.
Absolutely. That's a lovely question. So yamas and niyamas are codes of conduct, internal and external. Like how do we regulate ourselves, our inner world, and also how do we fit in with society, with the outer world? So the one that comes to mind instantly is santosha. Santosha is contentment, is being okay with what is, being able to release. Like santosha is a word, kind of like saudade in Portuguese, which has a lot of different ideas or concepts in one. So santosha, if we were to simplify it, means contentment. It's
Mm.
not the grass is greener syndrome. It's the opposite of that. It's being like, this grass is perfectly fine because I water it. And therefore it is green and it is beautiful and it is perfect the way it is. It's being able to have gratitude, to find gratitude for what is present already in your life. So it comes, Santosha to me is also much synonymous of abundance, is feeling like I have more than enough. I don't need to continue squeezing myself for more, right?
That's so
And
beautiful.
and I would say cleanliness, saucha. Saucha is the practice of cleanliness, and it's to
Mm.
be clean in your word, to be precise, to be able to express your needs, to be able to speak the truth of who you are. And it takes a fuck ton of courage. You know, when I look at what my life has been, I've traveled so much and changed, like reinvented myself
You
with what
really have. It's been a beautiful journey.
I was talking to my aunt yesterday, like I said, and she's like Olivia, even physically, the change has been massive, massive. And I'm like, yeah, I'm also fucking amazed. I look at pictures. Yesterday, a classmate from university also sent me a picture. And it was like the first semester in uni, and oh my God, I was wearing my glasses. I hadn't even come to yoga to discover yoga, and I was a bit like slouching, sitting in my chair. I had curly hair because my hair is naturally curly. That's a whole other story. And uh, yeah, like I could even see myself, and I can see through that image, like how I was lacking confidence, I was lacking self-worth, and I was still trying to figure shit out. So I can also see the innocence in that picture, you know, the before. And now I'm like, even when I speak, I'm like, wow, there is like power to this voice. Like I just have
Mm.
aliveness in me, which is why I love to do what we're doing now, connecting and sharing, because it cannot be held inside. I would be stealing, which is another one of the precepts of the Yamas and Niyamas, or to keep for yourself, you know. And so to give freely, to give open, that also is abundance. So those two, cleanliness and santosha, contentment.
Amazing. Thank you. That is such a great description. And I think, especially, we've been, for me, I relate to the contentment because I feel like the whole world just makes me feel sometimes that, oh, I constantly have to get something or in need of something when really the earth and the universe provides us all that we need.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I like that one. And also, I know I love that you're so raw and authentic in the way you present yourself, even on social media, which is such a brave thing to do. We see Olivia like dancing. Sometimes I've seen you crying. Sometimes I'm seeing you even talking when you're not in the best of of moods. And life can be overwhelming, and it's such a great way that I can connect to you through that vulnerability. So thank you for opening up your world to people like me? And also, how do you stay committed to the practice during such overwhelming times in your life?
The practice is what saves me. It's not like, oh, I have to make time for the practice. It is my refuge. The practice is my refuge. When my mind is crazy, I have such awareness of like, oh, I'm, out of alignment, and it hurts. It shows as sadness. It shows as doubt, confusion. All of these, what people call negative emotions, is simply when I realize I'm not in alignment with my truth. My truth is I am, a full energy being. I am love in action. I sustain. I am love in action. Whenever I don't feel that, then I know, oh, it's time to quiet those thoughts, because that is the saboteur. We all have this character in us, this archetypal character, which is the inner critic that comes and says, nah, who do you think you are? Nah, you're not enough. Look at you. You're fat. Look at your arms. Look at your legs. Look at you, got a pimple. Don't make a video. You got a pimple. People will
got a pimple. You can't go on TV today. You got a pimple.
Exactly. You got a pimple. So the inner critic, when you allow it space, it grows and grows and grows and grows. And it starts, like in The Little Prince, there's this analogy, which is the baobabs. And the Little Prince says, in his little planet, if you haven't read The Little Prince, it's beautiful. Oh, hi, Tanner. Hello, people joining. Thank you for joining us. And he says, and the Little Prince is like, one day he's like working and like, raking and the leaves and I don't know what, and planting. And this character asks, like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm tending to my planet. I'm tending to the baobabs. So what are the baobabs? They are these seeds that if they grow and they grow and grow and grow and grow, and they can possibly grow into these massive trees, ginormous trees, which they exist in Africa, by the way, they do. And they can take over the whole planet, and the planet can cease to exist. So when the tiny initial original thought of doubt, the seed of doubt comes in, that's when we need to catch it. So we need to be attentive. Again, self-practice. This is the practice. The practice isn't just go to the yoga mat. When I say the practice, it means awareness of every fucking moment. When a dude doesn't reply to you, when you feel like, you know what, I'm going to take another drink, when you're like, you know what, I'm going to smoke a joint. Why? The question is always, what is deeper? What is deeper? What are you looking for? What's the experience you want? What is brewing inside of you? And then to change it, to transmute. We are constantly cleaning ourselves. When you know how to do it. When you don't, guess what? You have a magic test there, like a Pandora's box, literally, and you hide. You resist, you dig and you bury all of those emotions. And guess what? It weighs you down. That's why the work that I do in coaching, I receive people who have been already years to psychotherapy, to psychologists. I even had a client who had been to a psychiatrist, and she said, you know what, I became a zombie. I don't want to live my life like that, just taking medicine so that I don't feel, and I want to feel, but I want to feel good. And so what happens, we need to go back to the original seed of that baobab, and we need to pluck it, because that's the energy that is stored in our body, in the soma, that then is creating all of the chaos in life. So you can just go to the psychologist and you can try to understand what's going on, or you can just go to the source, which is the energy. That's the work that I do. That's why it's so effective, is because we cut the bullshit and we go straight to the source, and we pluck the weed of the thought or the emotion. And then once it's gone, I've heard people say to me, like, it's like magic. Like, what problem? It's like it's a non-issue, because we go to the...
That's such a great explanation. And what a way to save time as well, right? Like, just pluck out that weed, boom.
You can, but that's the thing. To some, the story gives them a huge sense of power. Why? Because you can go and tell your sad, soppy story to people, like your victim story. Like, you know what, this happened to me, and then she left me, and then this happened to me, and that. I was talking to a client the other day as well, and he is 69 years old, and he, was living in the US, and he's from a different country. And he's like, in 1 month, Olivia, I lost everything. My wife left me. He took the kids. I lost my job. She took the car, blah, 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 blah. And he had tried to commit suicide, which is like pretty dense, you know? And so this guy was really seeking for support and love and connection, you know, and feeling seen and validated. And so I understood when he tried to end his life that it's like it's a rebirth, because death brings new life. It brings a rebirth. So that, okay, are you really, really wanting out? Like the question I always ask the potential clients, because we get on an intro call, is have you had enough? If you haven't, you're going to still squeeze the juice out of that story. And you're going to go out like telling the world, this happened to me, this happened to me. And so, do you want to keep living in that, or do you want change?
There's
you
a
know?
called
Like,
samskara, right?
No, because to the subconscious mind, change means pain. And no one wants pain. But it's one of those acute pain that you're like, okay, we're going to look at it. And it's going to be painful when I yank it. It's like when you go for waxing. And they're like, okay, 1, 2, 3. And you're like, hi, mother.
Yeah.
But then it's done. And you're like, oh, look at this. Right? It's
Yeah.
exactly. Or you can just be like, one day at a time, still reliving the pain. So,
Or like shaving and just take out the surface, but the roots are still there.
exactly. It's like cutting the grass at a surface level. And you'd be like, oh, what a beautiful, lawn. But the weed still grows. And the thing, not that it just grows, the weed expands. If you don't pluck the weeds, it grows and it kills the healthy grass, So that's why it's so important to look at what are we doing? How am I managing my energies? That's the question.
That is such a great explanation. And how yoga does that for you, just brings that awareness into your energy. I love that. Now,
Good booty. I mean, that's a side effect, You feel good in your body. Like if I look as well from before, I'm like, how am I 37 years old now and have this body? And then when I was 22, I had that body. I'm like, it makes no sense. But
you're aging like a fine wine.
Exactly. Yes.
And I know, just a quick question. I know in yoga they say like alcohol is like a substance, right? But you still drink. Why? And that is, yeah, why? Like they say that is not, like you talk about cleanliness and saucha, but then you take alcohol. Well, can you explain that briefly?
I also eat meat.
Oh yeah, she also eats meat.
And cheese.
And cheese.
Well, cheese, I mean, seriously, who's gonna, cheese is cheese. Cheese is life. But great question, actually. And I listened to a recording just the other day by Abraham Hicks. And Abraham Hicks, which is Esther Hicks, is the woman. Abraham is the spirit, and she channels this energy, this wisdom through her sharings. And this guy was exactly asking that, like what about alcohol? Like, where does that all fit in? And she said, and it goes not only for alcohol, but for anything, for porn, food, for anything that is self-soothing, that is that could be a substance or an altered state of being. And to chunk it down, to summarize it, she's like, you can go to those things when you're trying to escape, or you can be at a base level, which is very satisfied, which is, again, contentment. So if you are doing these things, but you're coming from a place where you're fine, you're happy, you're content, you have worked with your energies, you're not trying to escape or avoid out of repressing, then there is no harm, because it's a choice. And then you are also, I do it with complete awareness. So I know when to stop. I don't go into, oh shit, then I got where, So, and even if I do get tipsy, I'm well aware that it's a choice of mine. And I know, oh shit, well, I might feel shitty tomorrow, or, but it's not one of those like, oh, I can't deal with my job, I hate my boss, or my husband never listens to me. And then therefore, this one client of mine, she came to me because she needed support with coming out of a toxic relationship. It had been 5 years struggling, trying to make it work, and she's like, well, maybe he will change, maybe I will change, maybe it's me, maybe all these thoughts. She said, I couldn't sleep if I didn't take medicine for sleep, and if I didn't have my, a couple glasses of wine or more. So with the work that we did within a few sessions, she's like, you know what? I slept like a baby. It's all integration. Like, it's a lot that we moved energetically. And then she decided to quit her medication to go to sleep, and she was able to. And she quit drinking to go to sleep, and she was able to. And she has sustained it. Now it's been more, because it's a 4-month long program, and we are done. And she continues to report like, I'm doing great, and she posts like things about doing yoga and so forth. And so true healing happens. So I don't see it as, oh, that's of the devil, because if you repress again and you're like, oh, sex is bad, then we go into duality, which is, this is right and this is wrong, this is good and this is bad. Sexuality is a huge, huge vehicle for transformation and for knowing yourself, if it's done properly. Substances, I mean, there is plant medicine, which is sacred. If you do it with the right intention, if you do it with consciousness, it can enhance your experience as a human being, right? So this is the difference with Tantra. Tantra is a path. It's a spiritual path. It's not just, Kama Sutra and sexy poses. Tantra is a spiritual path that opens you up to understanding that we are one, and all can be used for your upliftment and liberation, including wine, including beer, including sex, especially sex. Imagine how much we can give of ourselves to the other, how much we can receive of that exchange when we are in the right place. When we are not, it creates attachments, it creates all sorts of addictions, But when it's done properly, then, it is, I mean, fuck it. Children come from there. Do you know, like, we grow in our wombs as women, eyelashes and fingers and fingernails. It's amazing.
Wow. I think that's, help me, your explanation is just helping me so much, just clarify my own, or made me think about my own decisions about alcohol and sex. And I'm sort of like, I avoid,
But do it, do it consciously. Do it consciously. At one point, Ratika, sex is no longer of the body. Like, I have experienced it it's a merging of souls. It sounds very poetic, but it truly is. Like, where you no longer exist and you are in the other is in you, literally and physically, and like everything. And it is like a surrender of the ego. That is the point of sex. It's like, there is no me and you. It is us together. But it takes, you know what it takes? It takes being naked in your soul to be able to experience that. And when there is, then it's like, oh, well, so what happens a lot in Osho, who is if you don't know Osho, do Google Osho. Read a lot about him. There's a lot of, controversy and whatever. But if you take to the root his teachings, they are very powerful and beautiful, which is, he says, we are afraid of the death of the ego. Therefore, even in sex, we give with an agenda. It's like, okay, yeah, but, it's got to be a quickie, or it's got to be like this, or it's got to be like that. Because we're afraid to actually open up and be vulnerable, which is what you were saying. But when you realize that, hey, actually people love and crave to have that permission to just be as they are, with that pimple, with the day that you're like fucking on your period and you have like baggy eyes, and just be,
Yeah.
Like, I connect with you. You do, because you feel me. In feeling me, you are feeling you. We are mirrors of each other. So it's to be brutally that. And I'm not gonna, well, I'm a yogi, so I shouldn't be eating meat. I tried. I did a year of vegetarianism, and it was great, except for the whole time I was like, I don't know if I'm calibrating my this and my proteins and this and that and that. And then I realized, what? It's okay. And I don't eat meat like every single day, all the time. My body also, especially the more work that I do, the more that I purify, the more that it sits heavy in me, so I do it occasionally, the same as drinking. I choose when it's an intoxication of sorts. Yeah, sure. It's a conscious intoxication of sorts, but I also don't do it out of, I want to avoid and repress. I embrace it as a journey.
I love that. It's like the intention as to why you're doing it. And I love your description of sex, right? Oh, like mind blowing. Like, you have to be raw in your soul.
Absolutely. And there is so much. I mean, I invite anyone who's watching here who wants to connect and have this conversation, because their society has us through religion mostly. And I'm not vilifying religion, because it has a place. It gives us a structure, you know, of prayer, of surrender, of intention, of believing in something higher than ourselves. So religion provides a structure. But even past religion, then there is this spiritual field, which expands even more so, because then it's not about, oh, I am Muslim, or I am Catholic, or I am whatever. You know, we get to the core of it, which is we are love. We are the of love. We exist as love, right? And so yeah, I don't know, I lost my train of thought. Oh yes, so Tantra. There is a lot of this repression through this, you know, which is like, oh, you shouldn't do it, live this way, women shouldn't dress like that. But it's because it's so fucking powerful. It's so powerful when you feel your own truth, when you feel your own self, when you're able to, with your lover, look into each other's eyes and just communicate in that way, you know? And that's what I meant with eventually, it transcends the physical realm. It no longer is about like, ooh, let me put my pee-pee in your woo. It's
Yeah.
not that.
It's
It's
like,
like,
oh, I can use my legs. You know, I can't do it.
exactly. It's about being, it's about polarity of energy. And you see in that man like God. And he sees in you like the perfect embodiment of Shakti, of the goddess. To that point, first of all, your mind needs to open up a little bit, because if you're like, ah, that's bullshit, then this is ego, and this is you remaining in ignorance, and it's okay. We don't need to save everyone. We just need to do our own inner work, and from that place, when you feel complete, you shine so fucking bright that when you walk into a place, people are like, whoa, what's going on here? Who is she? You, be-
What's she on? She's on the yoga drug.
you become magnetic. That's what it is. What is magnetism? How magnets work? It's through energy. Yeah. And through this, and you start to attract. And people are like, no, I just need to know more. I want to talk to her. One of my clients, that's how it happened. She saw a video just like this, like an Instagram live that I was doing with another lady. And she's like, I need to talk to this woman. She reached out. She's like, Olivia, can we book a session? And then she's like, wow, okay. And she has been one of the most transformational journeys that I've seen, from being in a toxic relationship and feeling so out of her truth, so deep energy. And
And
then,
you specialize in that.
huh?
You specialize in helping people get out of toxic relationships.
My specialty is in energy work. Yeah, I'm an
Mm.
actor, basically. I always think like, what do I say? People ask me, what do I do? Because it's like, it's very interesting. I'm a lover. It's the frequency of love. It's the container of love that allows us to step in and have that permission that we don't have outside in society, where people are constantly judging. Don't do this, you should do this, especially parents as well. Oh my God. When you are in this container, you look at you and only you. Like, what do I want? So many people haven't even fucking asked that question to themselves. What do I want? How do I want to live my life? You know? Do I want to
Yeah.
live, have this job? Do I want to be in this relationship? How do I want to be treated? How do I want to feel when I wake up? These are things that, unless, because you see, the ego is fucking sneaky. You put in go mode. That's where the hustle comes in. You work and work and work and work. And of course, you're not going to have time, you know, because your
Yeah.
mind is so active that it is blocking your access to the emotional field. And the emotions are the vehicle to source, to spirit, to God. That's why when you feel good, you're like, wow, what a beautiful life. And when you feel like shit, you're like, I don't want to go there. I look fat. I don't fit in those jeans. I can't do it. That is not the truth of you. So emotions are, it takes fucking power. It takes courage to stop what you're doing and to get real and raw and authentic with yourself, and to then feel what needs to be felt in order to pluck those weeds to release, in order to call forth and become magnetic, to create the life that you deserve. It's much easier to stay in the victimhood story role. So not a journey for, you know, in the Bible itself, going back to religion, it says, well, I don't know how it is. It is easier for a camel to pass through the needle's eye.
You said this in one of your stories, I think. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, the Bible is a beautiful, majestic book. It is filled with wisdom of how to live the life, the spiritual path. And it always is back to I choose me, I choose me, I choose me.
What was that, for viewers who are watching, what is that camel analogy you were saying again?
That it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than it is for like a sinner to repent or something like that.
Okay.
I butcher quotes all the time. So you can Google that, you guys.
Yeah, we can Google that. And this more practical question, like how many minutes do you dedicate it, or how do you schedule yoga into your day every day?
I live in yoga. If you're talking about asana, that's different. Like the postures is one aspect. Because I live in yoga. This is, I just told you, like observing yourself, observing your thoughts, your emotion, channeling, blah, blah, blah. This is yoga. This is yoga. The yoga asana practice.
The asana practice.
To maintain a healthy, you know, to your vigor, your flexibility, your strength. And it all leads to meditation, by the way. The yogis, why did they dedicate so many hours in asana? It's so that their body is very, very flexible, so that they can sit for hours and just go to source, which is within. So to answer your question about yoga asana, though, I practice daily. I move daily. Some days it depends on how I feel. Some days, if like I say, like my energy levels are a bit lower, I honor where my body is at and I meet it halfway with the practice. So sometimes it looks a lot like I'm breathing and maybe doing child's pose for like 5 minutes, and that could be a yin practice of yoga. And you know, if I were to record that, people would be like, how boring, just one pose. And that could be what body needs. So it's also about not pushing, again, you know, the tendency to go into the masculine, like I gotta do yoga. Well, how about you need? How about sometimes I really feel like I need to do inversions, especially when I'm ovulating. I'm like, fuck, like I told you, I really can't wait to do handstands when I'm ovulating, because I have so much energy. I have a lot of the masculine that is present, you know, hormonally speaking, your endorphins, your like estrogens, progesterone, all of these things are at a peak state where you have a lot of stamina and you want to burn that. So then I do a more dynamic flow. And when I am, for example, now I am in the luteal, I think you say it that way, phase.
Yeah.
Which is right before my period. So I will have my period in, I don't know, like I say this like, guys, I'm having my period in the next few days. But I naturally feel my body just wanting more comfort, just wanting me to slow down. There is such wisdom in how us women are cyclical. But because we are now, the feminism movement as well, kind of in a way fucked it up for us, you know? I am not pro or con feminism. It's just that we need to rescue the things that are important, which is, for example, when we get our period, it's a time to release. There is prana in yoga and apana. Prana is receiving life force. We do this through everything, through the movements, through what we eat, prana. Yeah, that's why we want to eat more things that are alive, right? And yogis do. It's the sattvic way, the healthy way. But the opposite force, which is releasing, letting go of. And it physically is a release, as much as you are releasing through blood and whatnot. But it also is an energetic release. It's a time to go within and to just be, to ask yourself, to reset, you know? And it's sometimes, I mean, for me as well, it is so synced with the moon. Like I noticed that my natural rhythms are also very intuitive and very in sync with the moon. So, yeah.
And practically, like, do you schedule less on your days of the period, on your period?
It is not like that. I am constant. I flow. Like I've learned how to flow with my mind, my body, my spirit. So I feel it. For example, I could be working for 2 hours and I'm so into the project that I don't want to be like, oh, it's yoga time. No, I flow. I'm in the moment. So I'm like, you know, I love to design. I love to design. So I can be on Canva for 4 hours. And next thing you know, it's like, whoa, 4 hours just passed by. And my body then tells me, as soon as I come out of the state of flow, my body tells me, okay, that was amazing mentally, like you feel accomplished, but then I might have like a kink on my neck, and it's like, okay, now yoga time, you know? Like when I was on my way back from Istanbul to Bolivia, at the Frankfurt airport, I noticed like, okay, first of all, I noticed I had a lot of energy. I was ovulating. And I was like, you know what? I need to move this energy. And so I unrolled my yoga mat at the airport. I found a little corner there where not a lot of people were passing by. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do yoga. And I did yoga at the airport. And then I did Shavasana.
You did your hands, your inversions. You did a little story. I was like, girl, nice. Like, I'm going to take that whenever I fly. I'm going to take a mat and just be like, actually, I practice now without a mat, but I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, it's so good because imagine how many hours you're sitting there, and also not just that, but energetically you're absorbing. I mean, I'm an empath, and so I absorb. I go into a space and I feel the energies of people around me. And because there's coronavirus and especially airports, it's a place of a lot of, vritti, fluctuations of the mind. People are constantly like, oh, a lot of mind chatter. And so to be able to release that through the practice, like it's constantly emptying yourself of whatever isn't yours to carry. That's what it is. And then that's how we lose weight. That's how yoga helps you to lose weight. You empty yourself of shit that's not yours. And then you're like, oh, look it, I lost weight. Well, magic, yoga.
Just like magic.
It is magic.
Yes. And you have in your journey, I've watched you since I met you, you have lost weight. Not that you were obese or anything to start with, but your body is just naturally shed the excess. You've always been so physically attractive and voluptuous, and you've never lost that essence, and you have a healthy, you've always looked beautiful to me, but I noticed the weight's come up and you don't look gaunt, or you just look alive and you're glowing.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's because you love me.
I love you.
Like I was saying, it is the union of your yin and your yang. It is the bringing it. When I learned Tantra, which is again a spiritual journey, similar to yoga, like sister branches, then I truly started to embody my feminine and not be scared of this sexual power. Before I couldn't even wear crop tops. Now it's the only thing I wear. It didn't wear anything because I was in there.
I don't normally wear it, but it's so weird. I picked it for you.
Talk about sex and we show boobs. But my God, I just noticed my vein. It pops sometimes when I get so excited. Oh yeah, I remember going.
I don't normally wear it out either, but I just wore it for this interview. I don't know why. It must be that energy I'm channeling from you.
There we go. There we go. When you're not scared anymore of your shadows because you do the work, when you're not scared of your sexuality, when you're not scared of being who you are, the world opens up because all of a sudden you can't really fail. You do, and you adapt and adapt and adapt. And then what happens is, like what you were saying, is women who are in that same internal struggle, come up to me and they say, the first time, oh my God, Ratika, the first time that I posted a dancing video of myself alone at home dancing, the inner critic voice was so loud. It was like a siren. What are you doing? Are you crazy? What? You're making a fool of yourself. And then the response was, oh my God, thank you for sharing that. Oh my God, you know what? I danced in my home as well because I felt your energy and blah, blah, blah. That was enough for me to be like to the inner critic, fuck it, sit down, watch, and I could do it. And the more that I share of my truth, the more that I realize it is a double-edged sword, because I've also seen that I've lost followers, and that's wonderful. I was chatting with a friend last night and he's like, you know what? God bless if you have haters, because that means that you're doing the job right, meaning you're speaking your truth. Of course, there's going to be people who don't care for you. And he used the example because he's a diehard fan of Tony Robbins. And he was saying, like, Tony Robbins has pages upon page, landing pages of haters. Tony Robbins, I hope you die. Tony Robbins, scam. Tony. Imagine. And then there's the lovers and they've transformed their lives because of his message. So that's where I'm headed. I hope that I fucking have more and more haters, because that means that I'm speaking from a place of my truth, not trying to please everyone and like, oh, what's he gonna say? What's she gonna say? Fuck it, I'm gonna say what I want to say, and whoever then resonates with that will be like, ooh, her. She got something.
I mean, like, you got some bomb ass energy, I tell you. So like, I really am like, when I watch your sexy videos, I was like, God damn, this girl is sexy, intelligent, strong. You own your sexuality. You don't shy away from it, and you're fully expressive. I was just like, wow, I want to be like that. That was
So much. I receive. Thank you. Beautiful work.
That's
Funny.
why I wanted to interview you. I was like, I want to be like her.
Well, you are in the collective energy, so definitely it's contagious. You know how you said it's magic? This is how it works. It's magic. In being proximity, and time and distance are an illusion. In proximity to this, therefore you feel. Why is it that there is this saint in India? Her name is Amma, A-M-M-A. Do you know Amma? She is known as a hugging saint. All she does, her full-time job, is hugging people.
Yes, I've heard of her. Yes.
And she's like this grandma-looking Indian lady. Like she's, like a grandma, like so chubby. By chubby, I mean fat. She's fat. She probably drinks a lot of chai and eats sweets. Who knows? And I don't know if she eats meat or not, but what does it matter? People in her presence are transformed because we are not just our physical body. We are energetic beings. We are frequency. Why is it, and I use this example, that when you meet someone, sometimes you're like, I don't like those vibes. Like this person, and the person might be like, oh, hi, how are you? Externally being very like, adequate and proper. But your truth says, no. Because we are like antennas. We are receptive and we are transmitters. So you're going to start to wear more crop tops. Mark my words.
And also, I know you said like Amma, she doesn't hug anyone, but in contrast, Sadhguru, I was listening to him, he doesn't touch anyone. He's like, keep your hugs to yourself, because he doesn't want that.
Energy is so sacred. And what I wanted to share with you is, you're not scared of your sexuality, you said to me. And I don't even know how to quantify it, but I've decided to really reserve my sexuality, because it is so sacred. I'm like, not any motherfucker is going to come and you're just like, no. Yeah. It's been a call to action, I would say, from the universe to be like, you know what? I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait for someone who's willing to look me in the eyes, to take the time to create that sacred space, and someone who is willing to also show up naked in their soul to share that with me, that moment, even if it's just a moment. Even if it's just one day, one time, one instance. It's not about, oh, now we're going to get married. No. But it's about honoring the sacred union of masculine and feminine. So, yeah, it's been a while since last I had sex, and it's okay.
Same. It's been like a long time.
And it's all that much better. The person who's going to receive, I hope they're ready. I really hope.
For our bomb ass energy.
Exactly.
And thank you for your explanation. And another thing I wanted to ask is, what are your morning, or like, do you have set routines, like morning routine and nighttime routine?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. One of the beautiful things, and I really recommend Abraham Hicks. There's so much content out there that she puts out. And she says, the moment that you wake up, you have done a reset to your subconscious mind. Meaning, it's almost like you had a little tiny amnesia and you forgot energetically. You're not carrying that sack of like sorrow that you were carrying the day before. So for a few seconds when you wake up, you have an opportunity to create and call into your life how you want it to be that day, that given moment. But oftentimes we wake up and it's like directly to the phone, to go to the toilet, and then you remember, yeah, I was sad yesterday. Oh, how sad I am. I'm so sad. Yeah, it's so sad. You carry on with that frequency, right? Because she says it takes 17 seconds, about 15 to 17 seconds for energy be created and go in one direction. It gains momentum. It's like a roller coaster. Get on it, and then you start to feel like, oh my god, 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 and then boom, it goes, and it has its own momentum, right? But so because of that, when I wake up, I am very decisive and conscious. Currently, I'm working with, I read it in a book because I'm reading a lot about Akasha and Akashic records and what does it mean. And so to put it in short, it's the quantum field, and it's accessing this place of silence where you can, again, connect with source, with God, and then call forth in your life what you want. And so I have created a contract, and this contract is pertaining my finances and pleasures. So for 30 days, I am reading this contract, and what it does is it ingrains in my subconscious mind what it is that I truly want. And then my subconscious mind goes and fetches it, because the subconscious mind is actually, can be trained like a dog, except for when we don't train it, it's like an untrained dog, and it just fucking runs amok and creates chaos. So I wake up and I read my contract. And it puts me in a good mood, and then I do go pee, and then I do check my phone, and then I do my practice. I go into my meditation. Depending on the day, I might come out. If it's not raining, I do my yoga practice and so forth. But I do wake up, and the first thing ever is gratitude. As soon as I open my eyes, it's like, thank you for this bed, thank you for my life, thank you for breath, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's very organic, you know. So, and to go to sleep as well, like especially if it's been a day where I've had a lot of coaching sessions, or a day where, like yesterday, I had to go and do a lot of legal things the day before. And so I was again in the collective space of very frazzled energy, you know, because when you go to a place where there's a lot of bureaucracy and people are fucking, you know, like upset because they have to wait and you have to queue up, and it's a bit, you know, it's Bolivia, so sometimes it's not very clear what's going to happen, like where do I go? So I came back home and I felt myself like, oh, drained of energy. So then I know the practices, the tools that are available, you know, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's singing, maybe it's different ways depending on the day. To empty, the point is to empty yourself so that you have space. This is also part of the non-hoarding, non-taking it for yourself. Give it away, give it away, give it away now, like the song.
Like, I don't want it. I'm just letting it go. So I love that song by Frozen. They don't let it go.
Yeah.
I'm a Disney fan. And okay, and we talked about the yoga diet. I was going to ask you that, but then talk about eating animal products. So I won't go through that question. And okay, this one I know already because you posted it, but just who is the most inspiring individual in your life so far, and why?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe it's Jesus. I don't know how I would categorize that. I would say, and I do refer to my father. My father has been such a presence for me, because I have seen his transformation as well, you know, from owning a lot, from being able to produce a lot, you know, to also losing a lot, financially, in terms of ownership of things like lands and cars and a lot of material things. And alongside that, also losing that identity to the ego, and then the rise of the question, okay, then who am I? You know, now that I've lost this, that I'm not like a boss or an entrepreneur, like who am I? And even though my father has never practiced yoga asana, he is truly a yogi, because he does study himself a lot. He reads a lot. He questions a lot. And I told him just recently that I want to meditate with him. I want to teach him and show him and initiate him to the path of meditation. Because even though he rationally understands a lot, again, it's the mind, you know. And so I'm here to connect and plug his heart, and to be able to have him feel what it is to be, to just be, and to have value, to feel like you're valuable simply because you exist, not because of what you produce or what you give to others, but because you just are. And so I'm very eager to experience that with him, for my own pleasure as well, you know, because we are one, and I am, you know, a descendant of his, you know, and so as my ancestor as well, I honor him. So I've learned a lot through him, in good ways, let's say, as people would say it, and in also very tumultuous ways. You know, there was a phase in my life where I didn't want to talk to him. I rejected him because of poor decisions that he made in life, which I thought at the time was like, how dare you do that? Like it's, um, but coming again, doing the inner work with myself, I no longer wish to change him. I understand that what happened happened. I'm not attached to the story anymore. I can just release and let go and enjoy the moments that I still have with him. You know, he recently got COVID, and I'm so, so grateful that I got to come back to Bolivia and find him alive. You know, because when my mom told me, I was like, well, he's 77 years old. I thought, oh, is he gonna make it? You know? And he's
Wow.
so resilient in his mind because he has trained his mind so that he wouldn't give up, you know? And he even told me at my age, I still needed to integrate these lessons. He said to me, I thought I was strong until I got this illness. And then I realized like my body is just it's just a case. And so it's just humbling and humbling and humbling and heart opening experiences, and he's very vocal about that with me, and we have a very special connection because I truly believe that he talks to me and speaks to me and teaches me in ways further than just using his voice. His presence alone for me is so strong. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it hits hard for me. It hits to my heart because I too have such a tumultuous relationship with my parents, and my father also recently lost a lot, like his life savings.
Yeah.
And it really shocks my core to how I relate to him because it was a very silly decision and I didn't comprehend, but it really made me realize that I can only control myself, how I react, and I wasn't proud of the way I reacted, but that's, I'm just being honest. I had to let a few F-bombs here and there. but but I think what you said is so beautiful, that you don't attach anything. He brought you into this world and you don't attach his being to what his actions have
Well,
done,
it
which
was
is a
a process. I'm not saying it was like, oh, I woke up and I was in the car. It was a process of forgiveness. And
mm,
write many letters and do many workshops and travel the world and like hit my face hard against the wall and find partners who mimicked the relationship that he had with my mother to realize, oh, here I am trying to recreate that. Like I'm summarizing my whole life right now in a couple of sentences, but it
I know.
truly is a long journey, which is never ending. Even now with all this, you're always so very giving with your words, and with all this wisdom that people are like, wow, fuck it. Some days I'm like, I'm back to step one. I'm back to, and there we go. Love and compassion and kindness and patience. Love, compassion, kindness with myself as with others all the time, every day, all the time.
I
Yoga.
love that. I love that. I love that. How your humility. I love that. So your vulnerability in being that. You know what? Some days, even though I've done all these courses, this education, back to front, you can recite passages, and sometimes you're like, oh, I'm back to the beginning.
Because you know what? We peel layers upon layers upon layers upon layers upon layers.
Yeah.
And what, you think that the yogis up there in the mountains, they don't also have their moments where they're like, well, why is it windy today? It shouldn't be windy in this mountain. I chose this mountain because it shouldn't be windy. No, so wherever you go, that is the nature of us humans. And that's why
Mm.
back to saying, like, read the fucking manual of To Be a Human, chapter 1, which is yoga is this manual. It is a tool, a vehicle of expansion and liberation. When we get it, at least we approximate some sort of freedom, which is, I am not this body. I am not my thoughts. I am not even the emotions. They are all tools and vehicles. For what? To
Mm.
know ourselves. And what is that? As of where I am right now, is we are love in action, and we are.
Mm.
So when you know, I won't say names, but people around me, they're driving and they're like, ah, look at this fucker, like that, cutting in line, like such rage, such like judgment towards others. And from where I am, you know, I'm like, dude, like what you are giving out is gonna come back to you, like all of this. But there is this ignorance, you know, and ignorance is bliss, because you're not called to change your life or to actually, yeah, unless you decide to wake up. And when you decide to be fully present, fully awake, and conscious in your life, it's a double-edged sword, because it takes diligence. And the diligence is to do the practice, which is sometimes you get to call your own, you know, you'd be like, why am I doing this? What am I doing? Why am I connected to this? Why do I keep reaching out for this person when I received, you know, the message that it's not that way. It's not, you know, no va por ahí. Like, it's not that way. Why do I keep? And then again, patience, compassion with self, and then with others. So yoga manual to your refrigerator.
Hear that, everyone? So that is the manual to life. And Olivia, you know, it's been
from Brazil as well. I've seen such beautiful today, and I get to like really just hang out and keep chatting here. I've nowhere better to be. I love it.
I was like, I'm running out of questions, but you know, I would love to, I'm scared that this video ends, I think, after a particular time. Do you know? Because it's my
great place to pause, and let's, you know what, we can have a part 2. So for those who have seen, who have been following, we're going to do this again. We're going to decide what time, because I just love it. I love being in flow and being able to share this. And for the people who are receiving, thank you so much. I hope it has inspired you. And yeah, I'm here to serve.
Before you go, Olivia, please tell us and tell me, the viewers, what coaching you do. Tell us at Olivia's social media. Talk to us about your social media, where they can find you, and if they have any questions, are you okay with them reaching out? Please let us know.
100%. At oliviamercado.coaching is my Instagram handle. You can follow me there. I'm on Facebook as well. If you want to message me, it's Olivia Mercado. My coaching is a 4-week program, and I'm happy to share more details for the people who feel inclined to reach out. There's always an intro coaching session just to see if we are on the same wavelength and to figure out, you know, am I the right person to serve them, and are they a fit for me as well, because I have my criteria as well. And there's that. And the majority of the people who come to me, like I said, are people who have already been dabbling and trying to resolve their issues with psychology through different methodologies, but haven't really felt like they're over it. So then that's the people that I work with the most. They come to me, and then, and having said that, I've also worked with people who have never ever done any sort of psychology or life coaching, and it doesn't matter, because I guide them through the program. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Olivia. Thank you. I really, you know, I'm so happy. I feel like Namaste, love, like just echoing from my heart.
And
my heart's beating like this. Like boom.
We'll figure out another to do this as well, my love. Much love to you. We're happy
love
to
you so much.
Bye.
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 So guys, please follow Olivia. You know, hit the like button, hit the follow button. She's an awesome coach, inspiration, a lady. And if you are curious at all, I mean, book in an intro call with her. You've got nothing to lose except your time. But I feel like she adds value in every interaction that I've had so far. She adds so much value. So I just want to share that with the world. So yeah, peace, and stay tuned for more episodes.